you now started wasting your time in order to be productive. I sold in my life $30 million online. I've never had a single app about productivity. I have this bad boy, pen and paper. Take your phone, set 8 alarms. Happens to me now. I wake up at 5 and by 8:30 my day is done. Don't follow their landing, follow the rise. If there was a belief I had to choose that brought me more success in life, and what success and how everybody on the internet defines it, we're gonna talk about in a minute, because it's not just money. If you can do it, I can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. That's the point. The problem I have with all the productivity advice out there, productivity is a tool that you should use in order to achieve your goals. All of the productivity advice out there became the goal. So instead of you using productivity to achieve more, you now started wasting your time in order to be productive. And it's bonkers. I sold in my life $30 million online. I've never had a single app about productivity. I tried following their systems because those were implied, and I tried having a calendar and a fix this and fix that, and you need to know your week in advance. I don't. I know what needs to be done in a week. I plan my own week by my own schedule. I have this bad boy, pen and paper, write it down. I'm gonna give you one tip that blew my mind and how I became extraordinarily productive. Back in the days, we were like, who's working more? 10 hours per day, 12 hours per day, 15 hours per day. I woke up at 5 and I went to bed at 9. I was working, 16 hours. And it's a BS. And then I found an amazing video online, forgot who that was, and it was like, take your phone, set 8 alarms. Every single alarm should go off in 60 minutes. And whenever the alarm goes off, take 1 to 2 minutes and write down everything you were doing in the past 60 minutes. My God. You have no idea what's gonna be on that paper. I did that for maybe 3 or 4 weeks. At best, it was, I believe, 5 hours and 45 minutes of solid work. At best, this is like when I was working for like 11, 12 hours. 5 hours and 45 minutes of solid work where I was actually doing what I'm supposed to do. And if you do that, that's gonna be your productivity hack, the best one you'll ever get. Track your time, set alarm, and see what have you been doing in the past 60 minutes, and then write it down. You wouldn't believe, but go and write down everything, like when you were chatting with a colleague, when you were chatting on the phone, when you were back and forth with the messages, with the emails, when you were going, in the kitchen to grab something for lunch, when you were peeing, and the other one, and just write down everything. It's gonna blow your mind. And then be genuinely honest with yourself and be like, okay, I did not work like let's say I was working 12 hours, but the solid work was maybe 3.5, and then expand that thing to 5. It's like there's a great video from Sam Ovens, I believe, and everybody's like, time is the most important. Then they upgraded to focus, and then he's about the energy, and energy expenditure is really the only one that's how do you focus your energy is what you get accomplished. And then it's about doing less, not doing more. If you want to start your consulting business, let's say, hop on a phone, talk to people, and there is really not much more than that. You have to be on the phone closing people to become your clients. And how do you do that? You schedule calls and then you talk. And if you do 100 calls, you'll have maybe one person. But if you do 100 more calls, then you'll close 5. But if you do 500 more calls, then your average is going to go from 1% to 5% to 20%, and then you're going to be off to the races, and then you're going to be able to increase your prices, and so back and so forth. So productivity and mindlessly optimizing for productivity is butchering your success, is butchering your progress. It is tool. It's a screwdriver. It is not the goal. You have the goal to be something, to do something, to achieve something. What you do and what you accomplish per one unit of time is what's important. But what, again, the point is on what. What are you trying to accomplish? What are you working on? Is it really important, or is it mildly important, or is it irrelevant? Because if you're just being busy for the entire day, then it's a bullshit. You have one of the best executive coaches out there, Wyatt Woodsmall. Most of the people never heard of him, but he's like, people are paying him $100,000 to come and coach them, and then they are talking about productivity, and like that's the big topic. How do I accomplish more in the same amount of time? And he's like, his advice for $100,000 is, and he talks really funny, and he's like, first things first, second things not at all. And what are you focusing your time on? Where your energy goes? If you're a copywriter and you're not writing, then you're wasting your time. If you're a video editor and you're not editing videos, you're wasting your time. If you're a media buyer and you're not doing media buying stuff on any platform, then you're wasting your time, you know? And then if you tell me like, hey, I was working 12 hours today. No, you didn't. No one works 12 hours per day. I couldn't. I would love I could. And I was saying I am, but when I started tracking, do that shit, do that exercise. When you start tracking what you have done in the past hour, and then you do that for like 8, 10, 12 hours, depending on how much you think you're working, you would be astonished of how much bullcrap goes in those 10, 12 hours per day. And when you remove all the bullcrap, then you'll be able to, it happens to me now. I wake up at 5 and by 8:30 my day is done, which is completely bonkers. I felt like I was doing a lot more, but my output increased 50 times, and I feel I'm working like 2 times less. So that's your productivity. Forget about all the bullshit. Forget about their like butterfly effects, and like build habits. That's gonna take you long into the future, and it's gonna pay off so handsomely to you. Build habits. Build a habit where you have, I'm doing this, and please forget the morning routine. We're gonna talk about that one in another video, but please don't follow their landing. Follow the rise. You're following the landing of Joe Rogan, of Andrew Tate, of whoever you're following, and then you're looking at those morning routines where they're like in the ice bath, they're looking at the sun, they're drinking lemon water, whatever they're doing. Don't do that. It's the landing, and you need to know what the rise was, and the rise was completely opposite. Usually just brute force. It's brute force. I'm doing 5 sales calls per day. How do I get better? Do 20. Like, that's the advice. I'm writing, you know, I'm a good copywriter. How do I become better? How much are you writing? I don't know, 5 pages a day, 1,000 words. Do 3,000. Oh my God, how do I do that? Easy. Start writing more. Focus on what matters. So that's your productivity. Productivity is a tool. Stop watching those fucking videos. Go back to work. Wake up at 5, at 6, at 7. If you wake up at 7, at 7:05, get shit done. Focus on the important stuff and clear that off of your list in first 2, 3, 4 hours per day. Then go for your meditation, walk in the park, look at the sun, whatever you guys are doing. One of the best books I ever read on like high performance habits from Brendon Burchard. And there's something he calls in that book prolific quality output. And that's what I'm talking about. PQO, prolific quality output. That's what matters. Everything else is just bullshit.